Excellence, dear Prime Minister, during my visit to Podgorica, it was in last November, I had the honor of seeing and hearing the European determination of the government and the people of Montenegro. It is a real pleasure now to welcome you here in Brussels. Today we had the opportunity to discuss relations with Montenegro in detail and to review the process of accession to the European Union. We are very pleased to see that the new Montenegrin government is more determined than ever to undertake the necessary reforms to continue the move forward on the path of accession. We are navigating in a very complex geopolitical landscape marked by Russia's war aggression against Ukraine and the crisis in the Middle East. The enlargement of the Union is a strategic issue for the peace, security, stability, and prosperity of our continent. In this respect, our ties with Montenegro and the Western Balkans are strategic indeed. The stability and prosperity of the Western Balkans is an integral part of the security and prosperity of the European Union. Last December, at the EU Western Balkan Summit, the European Council clearly reaffirmed the perspective of membership for the 6 Western Balkan countries, and together we can address common challenges including regional cooperation, economic development, and environmental protection. Montenegro is now the most advanced candidate country in its accession process, with 33 negotiating chapters currently open, 3 of which have been provisionally closed. The country is also fully aligned with the European Union in terms of common foreign and security policy, in particular with regard to implementation of restrictive measures. So I also welcome the recent steps taken by the new Montenegrin government and its ambition to meet the criteria of the rule of law, and absolutely essential foundation of which our union is built. Compliance with these criteria is a prerequisite for the provisional closure of other negotiating chapters. Mr. Prime Minister, since the formation of your new government, we have seen many positive signs, particularly with regard to judicial appointments, which are long overdue. We hope that these first steps will be followed by far-reaching reforms. An impartial and professional judiciary is essential for the fight against corruption, especially high-level corruption. Improved law enforcement will also help combat violence against journalists. Effective judicial follow-up of these cases contributes to a safer environment for them and strengthens media freedom. Revised media legislation would also allow them to do their work independently and safely. In this context, improving Montenegro's administrative capacity is paramount to successfully address all these challenges. Public administration reform must therefore continue to be an integral part of the reform agenda. We are ready, of course, to support Montenegro. Although the task is heavy and difficult, we are convinced that with a genuine political will, Montenegro can make real progress and achieve the intermediate objectives of the rule of law. Our meeting today, I have to say, reflects our shared ambition to see progress in the accession negotiations and to lead to the provisional closure of other chapters in the near future. And I know that you are very ambitious, and maybe we will have another IGC during our presidency, but it's very ambitious.
What you see today is that the enlargement of the European Union is not just a philosophical project. Yeah. It is very much a real one. A real one because if there is progress on the side of a candidate country, there is clear commitment and progress on the side of the European Union. And this is why today we have had an intergovernmental conference with the new government of Montenegro, a political intergovernmental conference, as it is called in this EU jargon, meaning to provide the opportunity for the new government to explain to the member states, the representatives of the member states, how it intends to accelerate its EU path. Because this is the clear commitment I think we have heard today, but this is a clear commitment that we have been listening to from the birth of this political coalition and political construction, if you will, bringing Montenegro forward on its EU path. So I think what we heard today was more of a common to-do list of what needs doing to make enlargement happen. First and foremost, I think we have agreed that we need an acceleration in the fundamentals area. Basically, rule of law. Chapter 23, Chapter 24, meaning that we would need to see this area prioritized so that we can come to the next phase of the accession negotiations, which is the final phase, if you will, when we are starting to close the chapters, meaning where we can start to come to agreements leading to accession. In this context, I think very positive remarks have emerged from across all member states about the track record of the current political coalition and its government. Because we have seen only 3 months of this government in the working, but we have seen this government and parliament and the parliamentary majority, which is strong and stable. We have seen issues addressed that have been long outstanding and that have made Montenegro to wait a number of years before progress could have been made. We have seen the appointments of the last member of the Constitutional Court. We have seen appointments of the Judicial Council members. And we have seen the last election, which was the appointment of the state Supreme Prosecutor. So I think that the political construction can deliver. And our message to them was that if they can continue on this path, we are certainly ready. You have just heard the Belgian minister. They are also ready to have another IGC under their presidency, subject to the delivery of the progress on these areas. So I'm very hopeful that with this new impetus coming from Podgorica, we will see many things made, many things that we have not been seeing, unfortunately, coming forward. And this way, Montenegro can truly become the front runner of the accession process. To get there, we need the interim assessment benchmarks to be completed, as it is called, and for that we need still reforms to be made. I think it is very clear that what needs doing in the rule of law area, especially including media freedom and the media regulator. We see together with the government how we could best make progress. The European Commission is ready to help the country to get there, but of course we cannot do the homework instead of you or without you. Therefore, I offer our assistance and help, but I would also want to encourage you to accelerate the work as we speak. Maybe to put all the discussion also into context, I want to raise one other topic, which was also mentioned by a number of member states. And that has got to do with the growth plan for the Western Balkans. Because that growth plan is something with which we not only want to create new opportunities for the Western Balkans. With this, we want to accelerate the integration, the real integration of the Western Balkans into the European Union even before accession, meaning gradual integration into the single market, meaning providing the necessary funding, additional funding, to accelerate the reform agenda. This is something that we have put forward to consolidate the work for governments who are eager to join and deliver, but also to stabilize the region and bring forward the regional integration within the region, so that the region can act with one another as European member states are acting with one another. So I think we have a very encouraging meeting behind us. I do hope that we have a very encouraging semester in front of us.
Thank you so much. Today was a really fantastic day for us because, as Minister Labib and Commissioner Varhelyi mentioned, we have either met or spoken in the early days of the government, and it presents immense pleasure to have also after delivering results, talking about the things that would happen in the past when we discussed about in November, and now looking back and basically delivering the things maybe even faster than some of you had expected, always is a good thing, and I'm really grateful we have this opportunity here, and thank you so much for organizing the IGC today. Thanks to the Belgian presidency as well of the EU, we have seen it very efficient and very quick turnaround, so thanks again for all of this. Today was a really big day because we see it as a recognition of all the efforts and all the results we have achieved in a relatively short period of time, in only 2.5 months, but we think it's just the beginning. We think we are just scratching the surface. We expect to continue this way. As both of you have mentioned, there are very high expectations from Montenegro, but also high expectations from us towards the European Commission and member states. We have seen the start of the government having a hot potato that was a big problem for us, for not only for years, but for decades. And that was the census, a very polarizing issue that was always making problems, and that was creating the big divisions within our society. And the result of that was that we couldn't vote on the judicial reforms, a judicial council for 10 years, Supreme State prosecutor for 5 years, for 7th constitutional judge for many years to go. So we have managed, by solving that core issue, polarization and deep divisions, we have managed to leap forward, and Montenegro has made really significant steps afterwards. We have seen more unity within the majority, but also reaching out to opposition. So we have all focused, as you can see, the most recent one, appointment, the state prosecutor, the Supreme State Prosecutor was voted by 75% of the parliament. We see it as a clear signal that Montenegro stands ready for tough reforms, stands ready for a unified stance on most important issues in the country. We have done significant reforms in the economy and fiscal space as well. We have done, like, as you know, the fiscal deficit was below 3% for quite some time already. I, as the Minister of Finance, as a Prime Minister now, have overseen 3 out of 4 budgets in the past 4 years, and we have always had like a very significant de-escalation of the deficit and reduction of debt from 105% in 2020 to 60% as of 2024. So many other things that we have achieved in only 2.5 months, and we, as I said, we are going to take this as a big impetus for us to continue fighting, and from tomorrow on, I'm going to gather my ministers and I'm going to give the tasks, and we are really hopeful that we have a really quick turnaround with European Commission on discussion on many laws that are pending, and that we can, working with the Parliament of Montenegro that was proven to have a really good track record in the 2.5 months, we hope that together as a country all institutions look forward and look forward towards the EU accession. And we also look forward to the quick IGC, hopefully very soon. After, I'm sure you're going to be pleased, and maybe it's going to be sooner than some of you might think. Again, because of the results that we stand ready to deliver. Thanks again, and hope to see you all soon.
After appointments in judiciary and in prosecutor's office, what are the next steps that should be done so that the European Commission proposes an interim benchmark report to the Council until spring, when is your next assessment? For Minister Labib, enlargement and defining the roadmap is one of the priorities of Belgian presidency. Do you expect member states to be ready until 2028 to welcome new members of the European Union? This is the date that was fixed by Montenegro, and Montenegro should be and will be ready to join the European Union. And finally, for Prime Minister Spajic, when we speak about reforms in the chapters 23 and 24, what are the next steps that we can expect in order to advance in this area? Thank you very much.
The next steps, I think, are very clear. These interim benchmarks have been set by the Council many, many years ago. And I think that there's a full understanding in Podgorica what needs to happen. I just want to highlight some of it, which are the crucial parts. I already mentioned the media. In the media area, it's not only legislation that is still missing, but also appointments in the National Media Council and the strengthening of the independence and the functioning of the Media Council. Then we have still some outstanding issues related to the judiciary, like the independence of the judiciary and also the vetting of it. And then maybe I raise one more because I know that this is also a hot topic in Podgorica, and that is the fight against corruption and organized crime, where we would need to see not only legislation but also a track record being built up, especially when it comes to high-level cases.
Answer to your question, yes, indeed, when I was to Montenegro, I heard your motto to be the 28th member in 2028. Yes, it's very ambitious, and we support it, of course, and as a historical member of our union, we are ready to help to share this ambitious. But I have to say that, frankly speaking, it is not the enlargement for us, is not a priority in itself, but preparing for it is a necessity. And so there is, of course, a geopolitical context that we have to take into account, considering the war in Ukraine, the foreign influences, the tensions also in the Balkans, and but it remains for us mainly the enlargement remain a process based on the respect on the Copenhagen criteria, on the merit basis, and I see that there is a strong willingness, so I'm sure that you will be able to achieve some more progress in the near future.
Commissioner Varhelyi and Minister Labib have already answered my question, so I'm not gonna go very deep. But as mentioned, we have media laws. We have some things that are remaining in terms of the judiciary laws. We have 6 laws pending, and we are going through the draft process. We have some legislation based on the sanctions, some other things that are pending from the interim benchmarks. I won't go into details, but there's definitely a lot to do, and the ministers are fully aware of that, and we'll be going through the task list every week, and we'll be reminding everybody of everybody's duties, and we hope that that kind of approach is going to yield results. And I'm actually sure that that kind of approach will yield results. And what is important to mention is also the concept of 28th member state is that EU is in theory is already ready for 28th member state. We don't need to change treaties in order to accept somebody like Montenegro, but it's Montenegro's track record and Montenegro's actions in following months, years, etc., will actually put us at the judgment table to decide, is Montenegro ready to be that 28th for 28th, or are we going to be part of the bigger enlargement process that's going to come afterwards? So I think it's up to us. We have to convince people. We have to deliver on our promises. We have to be a partner that is reliable. And if we do so, I'm really optimistic that everything can be achieved.